What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So this one was hard to do. This was tough. I got a lot of designer releases that came out in 2023. A lot, way more than 10. I debated on pushing this to 15 because some really good stuff got left out here, guys. Some of these may surprise you. Some of these are going to be no surprise because it's pretty much the consensus. These are amazing releases. So this is the 10 best designer releases of 2023, according to me. Stay tuned. I think it's safe to start with this one. I'm sure I will put it in the thumbnail. Jean-Paul Gaultier's Lamal Elixir. Such a great release for them. One of some people's favorite designer release of the year, and I totally get it. It's probably the best Lamal bottle. The way they have this texturing with the dark, rich glass. The way the ring is for the next stop. Like they stepped it up here. This is a 75 ml if I remember correctly. Yes. And it's crazy strong. You don't need a lot of sprays. This is one of the better Elixir fragrances to come out in the Elixir trend. I'm here for all the Elixirs. There's a few of them in this video because several came out this year. There's some really good Elixir flankers, guys. Actually, like half of this video, I think. Got 3 more. So 4 Elixirs made the video. What I like about it and appreciate the most is that it does tie to Lamal. You smell Lamal. Had somebody in my comments today on the shorts video I featured. It smells nothing like Lamal. I'm not an ear, nose, and throat doctor, man. I can't help you out. I can't fix it for you. But clearly, you get the aromatics, the lavender, and the green mintiness from the original's DNA. The vanilla's there. Powdery sweet vanilla tonka bean kind of smell, and the tobacco note here offers kind of this dark rich nuance, a little bit of an earthy tone to me without smelling a lot like, all that much like tobacco. And I actually appreciate it. It's got a rich character. It is pretty much a vanilla bomb, a little hint of spice, but this is a showstopper. This king shit right here, this is a phenomenal fragrance when it comes to designers, guys, and I strongly encourage you checking it out. Must sample Beast Mode fragrance. One of the best designer releases of 2023. Some will argue the best, Lamal Elixir. From the consensus arguable best release to the underappreciated, under the radar best of 2023 in my opinion. This is Issey Miyake Disy Pome Vetiver. It's a simplistic fragrance. The color scheme is fitting. Blonde, soft wood kind of thing. There's a slight earthy tone to the vetiver, but it's overall fresh and woody. So you got geranium and watery notes, which is just this freshwater smell with a light minty, somewhat sweet geranium smell, and a hint of earthy, and maybe a little bit of a smoke touch, if you will, to this woody vetiver. Great everyday wear. Doesn't smell like a bunch of other things, but also is a very simplistic and straightforward everyday masculine wear. This is such a good release for them. A lot of Issey Miyake's releases kind of fly under the radar sometimes. And this is one of them that, there's some people that know about it. There's some people that are totally agreeing with me right now. But there's some people that have not given this one a chance yet. This was a quiet banger designer release of 2023. Came out earlier in the year. Already is very affordable. I've done my share of putting some spotlight on it throughout the year, and this is the end of the year, and we're definitely shining a spotlight on it. I've been telling you guys all year this was going to be in this video. As I've been saying it, it was quietly killing it as one of the best 2023 designer releases, and here you are. If you haven't tried it yet and you like fresh, watery, vetiver-like fragrances, you should really try Disy Pome Vetiver from Issey Miyake. We're jumping right into the next Elixir flanker. I'm a big fan of this one. I really am. There's another one. There's a couple of these that's an argument for the best designer release. I mean, all of these, there's an argument for them for somebody because they're just really good fragrances, and a lot of people enjoy them. We're talking about Boss Bottled Elixir this time, though. Boss Bottled Elixir is some good stuff, guys. Let's get this to focus. I got a busy backdrop. This. So you'll see people kind of comparing it and relating it to Sauvage Elixir a little bit. It's not really all that spicy. It's an incense bomb, so that's the biggest difference right there. Is the main thing you're going to get here is hefty, smoky incense. you have to be into incense, which I love. And a lot of patchouli. Dries into a patchouli smell. That's basically what it is incense and patchouli. There's other things going on here, but that's the main accords I get. I love it. I can ever so faintly tie it in the Boss Bottled, but I can tie it in the Boss Bottled better than last year's Parfum release, which, again, beautiful fragrance, just doesn't really smell like Boss Bottled. This really doesn't all that much either, but it is a little bit there with the spice, the patchouli. You get a little bit of a woody nuance. It's not really all that much fruitiness to it, but it is a phenomenal smelling fragrance if you like patchouli and or incense. That's why I keep going back to that, because it's the main takeaways from here for me, and it's a phenomenal performer. There's another one that's super beastly on my skin. I definitely think it's one of the better designer releases of the year. It's Boss Bottled Elixir. Now with Paco Rabon, 1 Million Royal came out early in the year, very beginning, and it's a really good release, but I don't think it was good enough to make Best of 2023. It's really good. Not good enough, but I'll be damned if they didn't fire back with 1 Million Golden Oud. This made it. Oh yeah. So you do get that sweet bubblegum 1 Million DNA. It's not overrun, but it is definitely there. It's basically Middle Eastern 1 Millions, how you can look at it. Because you're going to get this slightly dry, spiced, leathery, woodsy ouds combination. A little smoky. There's an earthy tone to it. This is so good. This is so good. Very oriental dominant scent profile with the 1 Million DNA kind of hanging out in the background, letting you know I'm still a 1 Million fragrance. Possibly the best one they've ever put out because it's such a different path for them and they managed to keep the DNA intact. I'm so impressed by this fragrance. I don't think it's a must for everyone. I think if you can sample it first, you really should, but it didn't just release here in North America. Like I got it from FragranceBuy.ca in Canada. They tend to get the Middle Eastern exclusive fragrances if and when they hit the gray market. That's how I was able to get it. It's not just sitting at Macy's as far as I know here in the States. So I don't know how easy it would be to sample it unless you hit a decant site and check it out. But man, if you like the Middle Eastern style, you like the Orientals, the smokes, and the ouds and resins and stuff like that, and you like 1 Million, that makes this a must-try for you because they stepped the game up when they released this one kind of midway through, almost a little past midway through the year, after having already put out a pretty good fragrance that, again, I would not have put in this list because I didn't think it was quite good enough to make it, but this one definitely would. I mean, it's so good. It's so good. If you like that style, that makes this a must-try. It's 1 Million Golden Oud. Now, at the recording of this, I plan on wearing this tomorrow. Shame on me, I haven't been wearing it much since I got it. I spent some time with it, I reviewed it, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle. And it's one of the best iris fragrances to come out as far as designers in a while because they used quality iris here. It's not just some waxy makeup bag lipstick powder bomb like most of the designer fragrances are. Don't get me wrong, I like that stuff. But Ralph's Club Elixir, man, they got it right. I think they got this one right. What do I mean? It's not quite the mass appealing crowd pleaser that the Parfum and the Eau de Parfum are. Those are beautiful, especially the Parfum. I think if you want the most versatile, best of the bunch, I think the Parfum's the way to go. But if you're looking for something with a little bit more class and elegance, a little bit dressier type of fragrance, that's where this Elixir comes in. It's a smoked, slightly earthy vetiver, very woodsy, but you also get this earthy, violety smelling iris, which tells me it's a quality iris oil. I think they did their job and sourced some good iris here. Still has the aromatics. It ties into it. You will smell Ralph's Club's DNA in here. I love the cap, by the way. Always have on the Ralph's Club fragrances. And it's stout, but not overwhelming. This is the least loud of the elixirs that I have tried. And with the scent profile the way it is, it offers a sense of elegance and class. Because in situations like that, you don't necessarily want to overwhelm people with your aroma. And I think it's perfect. Lasts and lasts and lasts with this nice consistent aura of a scent bubble around you that isn't going to knock somebody out 6 to 10 feet away from you. But when you walk by them, it's going to hang out in their airspace and give them plenty of opportunity by breathing through their nose to pick up your scent trail. And like I said, class and elegance. Surprising for this particular line because it's a very easygoing, mass-appealing young man's DNA that they made this classy, elegant, kind of natural-smelling iris fragrance. Super impressive. So this one deserves a spot for that alone. And I'm wearing it probably the day, either the day this video goes live or the day before this video goes live, but at the recording of this video, I'm wearing this tomorrow. Been a little while. I started sniffing on it when I was putting the list together and deciding what was going to make the cut, and man, it so deserves it. Underappreciated this year, but an absolute home run release, I think, from Ralph Lauren, Ralph's Club Elixir. Now, this is one that came out at the very beginning of the year that I never wavered from saying it was one of the 3 best designers they released this year. It's so good. It's Boss the Scent Magnetic. Oh, man. I love this line. They get better with every release. I haven't tried Pure Accord. I've heard some mixed things about it, but I like to be my own judge because that was the previous release to this, but Absolute, Private Accord, the original, the Intense, all phenomenal fragrances in their own right, but I think this is the best of the bunch. This brand Absolute note. The Meninka here does come across a little boozy, kind of like the way it does in the Absolute flanker, and it has this dry, woody nuance to it, almost like a whole grain wheat smell the brand Absolute brings. That's what I relate the scent profile to. It's on the unique side, clearly in the Boss the Scent family. I can't think of another fragrance that smells like this. It's so good. It's the right kind of sweet. It's not candied sweet. It's that distinctive Meninka fruit that it's hard for me to describe exactly how it smells, but if you smell it, you'll never forget that that's what that smells like. This is such a beautiful fragrance, and 50 ml was the right size. I didn't need to buy more. Part of me wonders, should I have gotten 100 ml? But then again, I have so many fragrances. Small bottle's the way to go for me. But if you want what I believe to be the best version, the best fragrance in the Boss the Scent line, it's this year's release. Performance is great too, by the way. Boss the Scent Magnetic. Now, the first time I tried this one, I got a decant. Friend sent me a decant, tried it, liked it. Thought it was a good release. A little time went by. Bottles came in and out of stock a few times from some discounters. Finally, I got around to buying it. Been wearing it lately. Fell in love. Fell in love. It made the cut. Earlier in the year, it probably wasn't going to make the cut, kind of like 1 Million Royal, where I liked it. It's a good release. I just didn't think it was top 10 release of the year for designers. But boy, that changed. And sometimes you just need to spend more time with a fragrance, because Givenchy Gentleman's Society is that fragrance. It does have a little bit of a waxy feel that people say that there must be iris in here still, and there very well could be, and they're just not listing it. But it's a very rich, resinous, creamy, woody fragrance. If you like woody aromatics, this is one of the best to come out in years as far as designers. I think anyways. You got to give it a chance. Maybe it's love at first sniff. I don't know. It was not love at first sniff for me. It was like at first sniff. And it evolved into a love after wearing it. So good. Resinous, creamy woods. That's the best way I can describe it. Bright and airy, has a little bit of freshness to it. It's not overly heavy, but there is some thickness to the scent profile. Great longevity. Not super loud, but boy, you sure smell yourself for a solid hour, hour and a half, even into 2 hours on some wearings, where I smell myself, it radiating off the sides of my neck. So it pumps off the skin pretty well. I don't know how many others that are going to do this video topic that will have this fragrance in it, but for the longest, I didn't think it was going to make it. It was touch and go there for a while. But once I got the bottle and I started doing full wearings more instead of just test sprays, changed my opinion, not completely, but it really enhanced my appreciation for it. So worth trying. I think it's one of the best designer releases of the year. Givenchy Gentleman's Society. Now here's another one that came out early in the year that some people just won't get it. Maybe it's not their favorite version. And look, it's not my absolute favorite fragrance in this line, but I love every fragrance they've put out in this line. We're talking about Strong With You from Emporio Armani, and this is the Amber Flanker that came out this year. I love it. I absolutely love it. I got the leather flanker, oud, and only all this year. I finally got bottles. This was a blind buy because I know I love the DNA, and it was love at first sniff. I knew this was going to make this video at the end of the year. I wore this to the movies a couple of times. I'm going to see The Flash with this. In fact, I have that specific memory for it. This is a great scent for that. It's not necessarily always a dinner date with these fragrances. Sometimes just fun casual night out in cooler weather, and that's what this fragrance is for me. Amber, sure, warm and ambery, but fiery, hot, spiced, and floral in the opening. So they list, I think, lavender, vanilla, amber, if I remember correctly, is what they list. There's more going on there, guys. I get this white floral jasmine smell, spice, sugary sweetness. It smells kind of like Mancera's Instant Crush in the opening, and believe it or not as synthetic as Mancera Instant Crush. And then it settles into the Strong With You DNA, where I believe it's cinnamon is that fiery hot spice that I get from here. It smells like it could be cinnamon. I even get a little bit of the roasted chestnut from the original's DNA. That original formula is hiding in here somewhere. They're just not showing it in the note tree. Beautiful fragrance. Great performer, as is the entirety of the line. Across the whole range, you're going to get really good performance. At least I absolutely do. Some are beastly. Some are just very strong. But none of them are weak or average, and I think this has been undercut as a great release for the year. I feel like I'm one of the few in the crowd that really enjoys this fragrance, because it kind of got lost in the shuffle, because we got a lot of great designer releases this year, and we had a lot of okay designer releases this year. And some people aren't fans of it, but I damn sure am, hence why it's in my best of 2023 releases for designers. It's Emporio Strong With You, Amber. The final elixir in this video, not the last fragrance, but the last elixir. I've sang its praises enough. It's Invictus Victory Elixir. I like this so much more than Invictus Victory, and I've grown to really enjoy that one. The difference here is, I think the separator for me is the earthiness of the patchouli mixing with that DNA. This goes very far. It's a far departure from the Invictus DNA. The most out of all of them, I think. The furthest away from the DNA. And it's a hefty, warm vanilla. It's rich and smoky, which I'm a sucker for. It's vanilla amber, warm vanilla, smoky incense, earthy patchouli. It's that simple. I don't get the bubblegum aquatic smell of Invictus. I mean, I'm tricking myself saying it's there. It's me really, you got to really search for it, and you're like, oh, I kind of get it a little bit. It's kind of like diving for the Sauvage DNA and Sauvage Elixir. It's like, it's there. I can tell there's Ambroxan. It really isn't. So that's kind of how it is with this one. But performance is great. It's a phenomenal smell. And it's not a boring vanilla, because the way the patchouli comes across really gives it some character and depth. Grounds the scent from just being a super playful, warm vanilla fragrance, because there's a ton of warm vanilla fragrances out there. Hell, the one I just talked about is a warm vanilla fragrance. This adds nuance. It adds character to the profile because it's smoky and earthy, which is a slightly more mature thing most of the time, especially for such a youthful line like Invictus. This was a bit of a departure, and I love and respect that about the choice here. And I think it's one of the better releases of the year, and it's kind of a meme fragrance, which is kind of strange to me, but the internet is the internet. But Paco Rabon's Invictus Victory Elixir, I think, is one of the best designer releases of 2023. Last but not least, this is no surprise to anybody that watches this on a regular basis. This is my favorite release of the year. From the moment I smelled it, I said, this is my number one. It has been my number one. It's going to stay my number one. It's Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum. I love Spicebomb. I love every fragrance they've ever put out, even Night Vision EDT. I love it. I blind buy these from Viktor and Rolf. Every time they release them on their website in the States, I buy it from Viktor and Rolf. I support the brand directly. I don't even buy it from other retailers like Sephora, Ulta, Macy's. But I would encourage you to get out there and try it, especially if you liked the Eau de Toilette. So you don't realize how playful and sweet the infrared EDT is until you smell the Eau de Parfum. Because this is warm, resinous, leathery, and smoky, while still having that fiery red-hot spice. The color's fitting. Red-hot spiciness at the top. This is a much more mature and subdued projection, while still being long-lasting. This is grown-up Spicebomb, is how you can look at it. Not that all the other ones are so youthful, but when you smell this and all of the rest of the Spicebombs, you're like, wow, this is Spicebomb's big brother. That's how I look at it. I love this fragrance so much. Smoky, resinous smell. Rich, grounded, warm, spicy. Like I said, hot spice. Fiery hot spice. with a soft leather that's got a little bit of edge to it, and I think it's because of the spice that gives it that edge. I don't necessarily think it's the leather accord, and it comes across a little smoky. It's a beautiful fragrance, like I said, long-lasting. It's just not crazy loud, but it'll linger. It's got some heft to it, some thickness to the aroma. So sillage here is pretty good. Projection's just not crazy. I wouldn't call it some beast projector, but it's got the longevity. I love this fragrance. I don't know if it's my favorite overall release of the year, just across niche, designer, clone, cheap, whatever, but it might be. It's definitely my favorite designer release. I did save my favorite for last, even though the other 9 weren't ranked. This one was. This is my clear number 1. Has been from the moment I smelled it, and I've been very consistent on that. And this is one of those fragrances that, if you value my opinion or have similar tastes to mine and value my opinion, please go try this fragrance. Please. It's that good. I think this is one of the best designers to come out in a few years, let alone the best designer of 2023. It's Viktor and Rolf Spicebomb Eau de Parfum, Infrared Eau de Parfum. Well, that's my 10. May have surprised you. Some of these weren't a surprise, but a few omissions might have surprised you. Again, I debated on making it 15 because some good stuff got left out. But these are the 10 I came up with. These are the ones that made the cut. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. What was your favorite designer release of the year? Was it none of these? Let us know down below. I'm quite curious. It's all opinions. This is just my opinion. Some of you will agree. Some of you will disagree. And it's all good. It's all good. It's just opinions. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of my 10 favorites and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.